It's following the breadcrumbs and trusting and listening to the whispers and then acting on it. It's up to us. I mean, things that we experience is never our fault, but it is our responsibility to heal it. You've been the star, and it's almost like now you're stepping into Star Maker.
Yeah. It's one of the biggest lessons that I've sort of landed in. I don't have to do it all by myself.
Welcome back to I Am with Jenna Phillips Ballard. I am thrilled to introduce to you my guest for today, one of my closest friends in the whole universe. His name is Preston Smiles. I'm going to put his bio in the notes for this episode because, guys, he has overcome and accomplished so much in his life, just like his wifey. They're the perfect dynamic duo. But what I want to say about Preston specifically is he is somebody who has inspired me for the last decade plus that I've known him. He's a father, he's a businessman, a visionary, an artist, a creator, a maniac on a mission, and he is here to change the game for the world and the planet in this lifetime. So I cannot wait for you to experience him. Preston, welcome to I Am.
Ooh, ooh. Thank you.
Yeah,
yes.
It's so cool that you're here.
I appreciate it. It is so cool that I'm here. Good. Congratulations for bringing another thing forward.
Thank you. Thank you.
You have that Midas touch, if you may, where the moment you get locked in on something, you just figure out a way to make it happen.
That is true.
It's cool to sit in the manifestation of another one of your moments of like, I'm just going to do it.
And I did a story on Instagram yesterday. I was like, I have the audacity to start my own podcast, and I'm just going for it. I'm like, I'm not going to start on my little laptop. I'm going to have a studio right out the gate. I'm doing it the way that I want to do it. And I think that people just get so stuck in logistics and all the things. And I literally just made the choice. And when we make the choice, it all lines up. And I want to say that the studio, I saw it on one of your podcasts, on one of your podcast episodes. And I texted you. I was like, wait a second, that set is fire. Where is that? And you so generously shared it with me. And that's just who you've always been for me in my life. And I'll never forget the first moment that I saw you years ago in Los Angeles. And I was like, that dude, I want to be friends with that guy. And we became friends. And it's just been really beautiful to watch our evolution and to be on Team Humanity together all this time. And just so excited to really unpack what you're stepping into now, because I know that there's so many evolutions. I've watched all these different ways you've expressed yourself and different identities, but your thread through your purpose has always been alive in all those vehicles. And that's always been really consistent. So I also remember watching way back in the day, your Questions with Preston videos. I was like, wow. And I remember there was one video in particular, you were laying on the grass, your shirt was off, and you're like, hello, welcome to Questions with Preston. I was like, this dude. I was like, he gives zero fucks and he is all in on just being awesome. And it was just beautiful. I'll never forget that. It's been really, really cool to have a front row seat to your evolution and just who you are as a human and a leader.
That's amazing. I remember that video, so it made me laugh even more. Yeah. It's been quite the journey. I think what's cool about you and I is that we both been in this space before the word influencer existed. We've been in this space before there was millions of dollars to be had by regular quote unquote people. And
before life coach was a thing that is claimed by millions of people as well. That
before Instagram existed, both of us had a hunger and a desire not just to be better humans, but to serve and support other people, regardless of whether there was going to be a full career behind it. And, those videos back in the day are kind of what, put me on the map. And it's so interesting because I was broke financially, but I was rich spiritually. I was rich physically. I was rich emotionally. And I knew that my bank account wasn't matching what I felt like, but I knew it was on the way.
Sure.
And I had the insight and the wisdom to honor the inner voice that said, do it differently. At that point, most people were doing, video stuff with suits on and looking directly into a camera. And I had the moment of like, this doesn't work for me. I have so much energy and I have to move and I have to push this thing somewhere. And I remember asking, the cameraman, Justin, could you just circle me? Like I at points, I'm not even gonna look at the camera. I'm just gonna go. Could you follow me? And I remember one of the first videos that took off was the analysis paralysis video. It went from like, 300 views to 3,000 to 30,000 to 60,000 to 100,000, all within a span of like 2-3 months.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happened was a lot of people saw that, and then they went, oh, well, what else does he have? And all of the videos were super creative. They were on the beach, they were on the train tracks, they were whatever the case may be. And it was just me speaking my heart.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's a part of what has kept myself and people like you successessl, right? And not just
differently.
Yes.
Yeah.
And being true to what is handwritten on the soul. Because there's strategy, which is not bad or wrong, but then there's also what does my higher self want? What's the calling on my life for right now that I cannot shake? And am I willing to move mountains and get out of my own way and make that thing happen? And not just make it happen, make it welcome. Because it's more important when it comes to manifestation and the declaration to make it welcome and then make it happen.
That's right.
Most people just make it happen. They will things into existence, but it's not welcome in their consciousness.
Because it's not their truth. It's not how they want to do it. And I want to really recognize and acknowledge you for saying even just the clear direction of, and maybe that was a tap on your shoulder, like a God wink or God whisper, whatever. Justin, just circle me, just walk around me, because there was something that was coming alive for you and you trusted it and you acted on it. And it just created this, your own style of doing videos, and really just people were so sick and tired of the life coach with the laptop and the coffee mug next to the fountain. And like, that was definitely not me. So I remember when I was transitioning into coach from personal trainer and mindset coach for all the celebrities I was working with, I knew that I wanted to work with bigger groups of people. And because of Burning Man, which you stood for me so hard to attend, thank you for being that loving intervention for me and Brad. Life-changing. And that's where Unicorn University came to life. And I was like, all right, I don't want to be just a normal coach. I want to be so different. And I started doing these photo shoots with these big rainbow colored tutus and elaborate dresses next to trash cans and just super random and creative. And that's where my art was coming through as well. Yes. Not realizing that it was going to lead me to what I'm doing now. But it's just that it's following the breadcrumbs and trusting and listening to the whispers and then acting on it.
Facts. I mean, the truth is, and we know this, but we have to be reminded of it. An unhappy journey will never produce a happy ending.
That's right.
Happy endings are a byproduct, a side effect of a happy, fulfilled journey. Right? That's what you get at the end by way of being grateful and appreciating, including the storms. Right? I've gotten to the point in my 45 years on this beautiful planet where even when it's hard, I recognize that there is beauty in the gift of the sadness. Right? There's a reframing, because we've been taught to avoid sadness, avoid the anger,
to numb it, to
push it away, get over it, right? Spiritually bypass it. Now I'm at the point where I'm like, ooh, this feels so good. And there's going to be a point, when we get to that last breath, that last day, that last hour of our lives, we will get to reflect and go, did I actually ride the wave? Or did I sit on the sidelines? Did I sit on the sand and watch other people ride the wave? Did I get on my wave? Did I experience the fullness of it? Did I crash, get tumbled by the ocean, have sand in my mouth and hair and in my butt crack, and get back up and paddle back out,
Right, yes.
Like that's life. That's the success. It's not just getting to the top of the mountain. It's enjoying the climb.
Being in the trenches.
Yes, and understanding that's the beauty.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, it's the contrast that creates such a dynamic experience of life. And it's like we can't really know what happiness is without experiencing the depth of sadness.
Yes.
We can't really know what light actually is without experiencing the darkest depths of all the things that are coming with what it means to be a human. And so I love that you're speaking about that, because you're right. I mean, most people, they don't want to experience the grief. they don't want to ride those waves. They don't want to, and everybody handles their grief in different ways. But every time I have somebody that I know who expresses like my dad just passed or my mom just passed or, somebody that's close to them just passed away. And I always invite them to just ride the waves of the grief, because it's going to come. Typically, it's like when you first find out about somebody dying, it's like, oh, I feel so at peace, or because it's so shocking and your body doesn't know what to do with it yet. And then at some point, there's going to be that wave of deep loss and sadness and the way that it feels in your body. It's just, and it's such a great teacher. I mean, grief is such a powerful teacher. Yes. And I know that you also, a lot of the work that you do with Alexi, and I want to touch on that for sure, and then talk about what you're growing into right now. But the way that people choose to interpret the events of their life, I mean, we all handle trauma in a different way, but I want you to talk about grief specifically. I'm just getting a tap that we should talk about that. But what is so important and powerful about using grief as a teacher?
Well, I live from the belief and understanding that there is nothing on the planet that isn't intended here. That there's no mistakes in what I would deem or call God. And so if every leaf, every hair on my head, every emotion is here because it's intended here. And so the medicine of the 5 core emotions, which we could call fear, sadness, AKA grief, anger, sexual feelings, and joy, right? Each one of those is pointing to something and also not. They are a part of the car. And whether we have an understanding of them or not, whether we intellectualize them or not, they are a part of the human experience. What I've been really sitting with lately is, a joy-filled moment can occur. And I will point at the thing and I'll say, look at my Cash giggling. That caused joy in me. And
Cash is his 4th child, just FYI, in case you guys don't know that.
Yes.
We were talking about him with Alexi a little bit.
Exactly.
So he's such a firecracker, and
he is a fire.
His giggles are the cutest things.
Yes.
He's so amazing.
But what's cool about it, and this is a part of my evolution, is the joy that I experience in that moment is and isn't caused by Cash. It's the same joy. I can see a rainbow and it's the same joy. I could see Cash, same joy. I could, have a sip of some really good coffee and experience joy. And each time I'm just pointing it at something new, but it's what the human condition does when it finds pleasurable things. And grief to me is a portal to God. It is a opportunity to ride the wave and the waves, because grief doesn't end in many ways. There's no like, you've had enough grief, now you're done for the rest of your life. It's just a part of what occurs. And I believe that some of the best music, some of the best art, some of the best poetry and literature has come from people who honored their grief and pointed it.
That's right.
At something.
Channeled it into something that was in creation versus destruction. Yeah. 100%.
Even if they don't, fantastic, right? Yeah. Just the gift of feeling grief is the gift in itself. But if I feel the grief and then I want to write a concerto or something like that, game on.
Yes.
So I think it's just the gift of feeling it and seeing what wants to be held and move through.
Yeah. And we're all, like you're speaking about God earlier, how we're all God's children and we're perfect by design. We can't make a wrong choice. Everything will always basically bring us to our next step and what we're destined for and what we're here to create.
Thanks.
And it's the only way for God to experience grief and what it means to forgive something or someone is through the human experience. And we're all little droplets of this vast ocean called the universe or God, source. And we're not separate from God. And I believe that God is wanting to experience what it means to have sadness and loss and pain and all of that. And like, what a beautiful thing that we as humans get to experience that.
Yes.
And pain is it's such a gift. I mean, there are people who have, I don't know what the disease is called, but they can't experience pain at all.
Yes.
And you'd think like, oh, wow, what a gift. But you're like, no, because you have fire ants crawling up your legs and biting you. You need to be able to feel that to know that,
yes,
that you got to do something about that. And they don't have that sensation. And so it gave me a whole new appreciation for pain, a whole new appreciation for experiencing those physical sensations in our body, because our higher self is always communicating to us by communicating through us. So the physical sensations that we have in our body is part of the whole experience. And I love what you were saying also about how if you want to experience all of it, you got to feel all of it. If you want to experience joy, you also got to feel the darkness. We can't build a Swiss cheese wall around our heart. It's like you're either open or you're closed. You're either available or you're not. So I love that you're speaking to that.
Facts. Yeah.
And so with what you do in the workshops that you do with Alexi and all the coaching containers that you have, I mean, you've had so many, and you've had Stretch 22, and there's just like so many different experiences you've created. It's like you're always launching, creating something brand new, which is really beautiful. What do you think has been the consistent thread through for humans and their struggles when they're having a human moment or human suffering? Like, what do you think is the biggest thread through with people that you work with?
I think that a big part of what stops people from experiencing the fullness of life is toxic shame. And it's usually toxic shame that they inherited, like a family heirloom, passed down from generation to generation to generation, that doesn't necessarily belong to them. There is stuff that people go through because we have grown up in such a sterilized society that shames people when they're discovering their genitals and things of that nature. A lot of children adapt very quickly, and they understand what's safe and what's not safe given who their parents are and aren't. And so that adaptation, you can't beat your biology. And so they adapt and figure out how to wear a certain mask, and then their entire identity and body shapes to that mask, but they can't beat their biology. So they find tricky ways. You know, I saw the stat how OnlyFans makes more money for their employees and you know, people a part of
content creators.
Yes, than Meta and everything combined.
Wow.
And it doesn't surprise me given how we've raised people up to now. Because when you add, and I don't want to get too heavy-handed here, but I kind of do. When you add the religious guilt that a lot of people have. I grew up extraordinarily strict Christian. And when I went to college, while everybody else was drinking and partying, I was at church.
Yeah.
I didn't get the quote unquote traditional college experience because I was, you know, at church on Tuesday, right? So I'm not sharing this as a person who is philosophizing about it. I lived this. And I've shared many times on other podcasts that the first person I ever made love to was my wife. And I had sex a lot of times.
But actual love.
That. Every time I had sex, the thought would come up, Jesus is watching. You're a dirty sinner. You're bad. Stop this right now. Jesus is watching. You're going to die. You're going to burn in hell. And I would have this dialogue happening while I'm interacting with this woman.
So no way can you be present with that person.
No.
And then they're like, you're emotionally unavailable, man.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh boy. Wow.
So all that religious guilt was there. And then it wasn't just there during the act. Then I'd spend the next 3 months going, why'd you do that? Why'd you do that? My biology is saying, I want to merge with a woman, but my psychology is saying, you're a dirty, bad sinner and you're going to go to hell if you do that again. And so I don't think I'm alone in that. I think that a lot of people, and it's not just religious guilt. Hear me loud and clear. It's not just that, but it's a society that's almost bipolar, where we're constantly showing sexual things and all this stuff. And then we say, but don't.
Sure.
Don't do that. Right? Look at it, but don't touch it. Look at it, but don't interact with it. And so kids have this sort of gas brake thing. And then their parents are, you know, in their own repression. And, you know,
which then has pastors be the molesters of countless children, and the priests, and it's like they've got these desires that are so closeted and hidden. And so they have to express them in concealed ways, which are obviously really horrific. But it's the fear of being fully self-expressed and acting on, like what you said, your biology.
Yes.
And then not giving the lane to express that, or the space to unpack it or explore it.
Facts.
Yeah.
It's not just sexual stuff. It's even joy. Like, a lot of people don't grow up in households where joy is celebrated, where big expressions of happiness are okay. They also either grow up in households where there's so much repression that mom or dad's anger comes out in these really hectic ways, and then they either suppress that or they act just like their parents. And either way, they have shame about it. Now,
because the last thing they want is to be like their parents. And they can't help but become their parents because those are the models, and they don't know any other way. It's the norm, even though they deep down know in their bodies that it's not right. Not right to be that way, quote unquote, because I'm using the quotes because that's their interpretation.
Yes.
But it's just, I totally get that. I see that too so much in the work that we do. And it's just I'm sure that you've heard what feels like countless stories, like nothing surprises you anymore. I mean, the horrific stories that you've heard about people's trauma and what they had to endure as children, it's heartbreaking. And there's this continuation, this cycle of the trauma, and someone's got to be the one to interrupt it. And I believe, obviously, we were that. I mean, we're generational breakers of those cycles and the work that we're doing. But it really is, it's up to us. I mean, things that we experience is never our fault, but it is our responsibility to heal it.
Truth. Yeah, that's a big part of the work. And also, I grew up in a neighborhood with like 100 little boys, and every time somebody got better at a sport, all of us also got better. And there's something about the collective demonstration that makes things possible. So a big part of our work is showing people, not just saying, here's a permission slip, but showing, being a walking, talking, living demonstration of what is possible when somebody is in their bodies and in their expression and unapologetically, but humbly walking the earth. And so, I think most people just never got a full model. So they use the Kardashians or Homer Simpson or whatever it is as the model for how to do woman, how to do man, and so there's no blueprint. And so a big part of our work is not creating the blueprint, but giving their bodies permission to regulate. And then from the regulation, designing a life by way of moment by moment that feels good to them. Like, what is the tonality I want to experience in this lifetime? And then we show them our wave. And we don't say, hey, you don't have to do this wave, but if there's something true here, what would it look like? And so
for them personally, individually. Yeah.
So our room is a yes room. We have people screaming, crying, laughing, elating. We have people jump up and yell and scream at me. They get mad, they get sad. And we say, yes, you don't have to sit. You don't even have to sit in those seats. Yeah. You could stand up here on the stage next to me while I teach. Well, I would never do that. Find out. Do it right now. We're going to spend the next 30 minutes with you. And every 4 minutes, I want you to scream out some profane word.
And that's such a pattern interruption, right? Like it's to give them that permission to be that bold and that brave and outrageous, and just to also be interruptive is just like, to give that permission is so powerful.
Correct.
And also what you're saying about how, because I know what it's like to hold people in the space of transformation, and if they don't want to receive feedback in a certain way, or they're going to interpret it in a way as they're being attacked or whatever, they're going to get activated and triggered and respond in a way that's who they are not authentically. But then you being able to hold space for that and just providing the opportunity for them to be held in it and not made wrong for it.
Yes.
Is so big. And it's, I look back at all the work that, that you've been doing over the last decade plus, last 12, 13 years. And then what you're coming into now, because you've got the houses, the cars, the businesses, the kids, the wife, the life, the community. Like, you've got all these things on paper. It's like, wow, you're good. And yet I still know that there's always more coming from you, because you are such a creator and you're such an artist. And so I mean, I'm curious what your identity has been up to this point, what your I am has been, and what the new I am is for you as you're leaning into your next chapter.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, one of the beautiful things about what we would call aging is there's a certain wisdom that comes. And I feel myself moving into the era of elder and passing the baton and letting other people be the superstars and pushing people forward and being.
Yeah, because you've been the superstar. Correct. It's like you've been the star, and it's almost like now you're stepping into star maker.
That. Yeah. It's important to me in this next chapter of my life to infiltrate my own family at the level that I do other people's families. And I think that's some of the hardest work. It's much easier to go work with strangers and open your heart and reveal your deepest, darkest secrets and keep leaning in and keep entering the room than it is to do it with a mother, father, sister, brother, cousin, or children who have shared history. Mm-hmm. And so for me, my next chapter is really lifting the community and returning home in an even deeper way. I want to have a lot, and I'm committed to this, having a lot of powerful, deep experiences with my children, with my wife. I'm committed to retiring her so that she can only focus on art, mm-hmm. And allow for her nervous system to experience what it feels like to be fully held and taken care of, specifically financially. Women like my wife, and I would put you in this category, you guys don't need a man. It is a luxury. It is an epic thing that you appreciate, but you don't need, and you grew up more than likely hearing or understanding that. And so I want her to feel the fullness of, hey, I've been independent woman doing my thing. Then I merge with this guy Preston, and we do this relationship thing and we create all this magic. Then we create these babies and we're doing the family thing. And then now I'm the woman who has it all, but doesn't have to hold it all anymore. So my real I am is about her. It's about my mom. It's about my sister. It's about having shared experiences with my children and about setting up our lives and businesses in such a way that daddy is home more often than he's not.
It's so sweet and so tender. I love that you brought that forth because we were talking about this the other day. And you were sharing how you've always, I think it was when you were at our house, you came over with the kids and you were talking about how even when you were in college, you could not wait to be a dad. Mm-hmm. And you really wanted to create the space for you to retire early so you could have as many experiences with your kids as possible. And I love that. I think that's actually really rare for a man, mm-hmm. To really have that pure desire, mm-hmm. to have that intention to be the driving force for what you're doing and why you're doing it. And I also want to really acknowledge what you said about Alexi is just giving her the space to soften, mm-hmm. And obviously it gets to start with her and myself first as well. Like we gotta like not need to drive anymore. But you are such a leader. You're such an amazing provider. I've witnessed that. And I'm also just seeing in obviously Alexi's in my conversations, how she's been expressing, she's like, yeah, it would be so amazing to be taken care of because she and I both, we've been entrepreneurs for decades and it's just what we do. And I literally, even before I met Brad, I literally would say, I don't need a man, which is why I ultimately was not attracting my person. Yep. But I found my power in my feminine grace. And I thought that it was in my masculine. And this is something that's true for Alexi too. We have all the evidence to indicate that our masculine is the thing that's going to protect us the most and produce results and all of that. But what our deep desire is to be led by our man and to be in our feminine and to be supported. And like we were joking, it was like, it'd be kind of nice to have a sugar daddy. Like, you can be Alexi's sugar daddy, Brad can be my sugar daddy. Correct. I've never had that before. And so I really I'm in the season now where I'm softening in my creator and my artist. And I just want to create and make magic and be in that expression. So it's super stretchy. And also I know that it's part of my evolution for sure.
It's the gift of marriage and relationship. There's a lot of them, but one of them is evolving together and trying on different hats and playing different roles for each other and helping each other rise. And, you know, I grew up with a very strong, get her done Virgo mom who was like, I got it. Always.
And of course, you married Alexi, who is a Virgo.
Yes. So then I attract this Virgo woman that's like, I got it. Always. It's like, sit down. I got it, you know? And so the gift of her is that. Because, you know, learning how to assert and lead a family and a woman who might not necessarily feel safe to give all that to me. Where do I need to go? What needs to happen and occur inside of me where I can disarm her? And that's the gift of children, because with my kids, and this is something I'm still working on this with my kids, no matter where they go, no matter what kind of tantrum, no matter what's occurring, I enroll them through charm, through playfulness, through this. I will pick them up and bite their face and say, nope, you're mine and you're coming with me. Well, let my wife be on her luteal cycle, right? I'm like, oh, I don't know who you are. I'm leaving, right? And like having to work through that part of me that's like, how do I do this when she's like that? Right? And so it's been really beautiful to lean in, to love past the perception that I have about women when they aren't controlled. One of the things I've really had to work on is I used to say to her in a not nice way, and during fights, I'd speak about, oh, you know, you're not as feminine as you think you are, et cetera, et cetera. And what was interesting was that was more about me than it was her. Because
projecting your frustration that.
And it was because I couldn't, and this is a lot of men want their women to be more soft and feminine, but they want it in these sterilized packages that they could control. And what I wasn't understanding means if I want that, I got to be able to hold that too.
That's right.
I don't get just that.
Right.
And so it's leveled me up to be able to sit in and go, all of this is her feminine. And who am I? What kind of containment? And am I willing to step in here, or do I want to repress this or run away from it, like my dad did, his dad did, and how most men.
And then you're ending the cycle by you being able to be the space holder and allow her to be in her tsunami, in her drought, in her snowstorm, in the calm blue oceans. Because it's like, think about how feminine Mother Nature is. I mean, it's the full complexity of all things that exist. It's the windstorm, it's the snowstorm, it's the easy breezy day. And so it's just being able to hold that and weather all of those storms.
That's
also not common for a man. And I love the work that you do, because you also really invite men into those conversations. I
do.
So it's interesting because I believe that obviously men get to be able to hold space when be in their full expression and experience. And at the same time, I also think it's imperative for women to create space for the man to lead.
Yes.
Like we got to put our sword down. We got to take the armor off, and we got to also trust that our man has what it takes to lead.
Facts.
Because if we never give him the space to exemplify that, it's not going to happen. So that's something that Brad and I are always dancing with. And, so I deeply relate to all of that.
Yes.
But I really do love being led by my man. I love watching him go first. And again, like I was programmed. My mom built all these businesses. I mean, she had 6 art galleries, and I watched her hustle, build, and just create magic from nothing.
Yes.
So that's where I learned that. And I watched my parents' relationship not work out. And so the story that I generated was relationships are not going to work out. They all end. And the model that I had was my mother, which I'm so grateful for, because I've been able to create so much from that. And I've also gotten to do a lot of work on feeling okay in my feminine and in my surrender.
Correct.
And so I'm watching you and Lex do that dance also. And it's so beautiful and it's so intense. And it's just, it's literally the most transformational thing we could ever sign up for, is to be married to somebody for life.
Facts. There is such a gift in, even also, and I want to acknowledge you for this as well, you and Brad, there's a gift in longevity as well.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people in our society cut and run when things get hard and things get tough. And we have been through some storms. We have been through some battles. And to come out on the other side, there's a love and a maturity and a partnership that I didn't know was possible. And we've reached such a deep, impactful level in our partnership and relationship because of those storms, right? And I think that a lot of people have this story that when they meet their person, that everything is going to be great. And the truth is
it's
that
because of Disney.
Yes. If you find the right person, you know, it's going to rock you to your core.
It is.
And it's going to call you forward, and it's going to help you burn down certain identities, and it's going to push all the buttons.
Yeah.
You know, if you type in sexless marriages right now, it's one of the biggest Google searches, YouTube searches you can find. There are TED Talks and things.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
There's a big learning curve, you know, getting the opportunity to watch my wife go through perimenopause and starting to understand how, in many ways, unfair it appears to be for women, and watching her move through these many storms and cycles and hormones and shifts and all these things. For me, it's like, oh my goodness, I get to look at these little children and say, wow, what a gift. I get to walk around this beautiful house and say, wow, this feels like a home. And what I didn't used to do that I do now is I understand the sacrifice. And, you know, even her and her menstrual cycle starting at 13, 14 years old, the sacrifice from 13 years old for me to be able to have 4 beautiful kids. Right? If you asked me to trade with women, I wouldn't want to trade. Like, I'm just gonna tell you right now, most dudes too are like, nah, bro, I'd skip the period thing. Like,
have you ever seen the video where the guys wear the pads on their stomachs that simulate period cramps, and it's like level 2 and they can't even stand up?
They're dying. Yes.
And women are like, what? Like, bring it up to level 10. I got enough. It's no big deal.
Correct.
Yeah, it's so wild just how what women can hold for. And we're so different and so uniquely beautiful in our own expression. And Alexi and I were talking about how the two of you are you supplement each other so well. And Brad and I supplement each other so well. And we're joking about how you and I are very similar, and she and Brad are kind of similar, and how we're just like this perfect balance. And I've tried dating the male version of me. Absolutely did not work. Like, absolutely not. No way. And it's to choose that, to attract our partner, opposites attract, and to have that co-creation, that dance, that balance is such a challenge. It's difficult to be able to hold that and not have everything fall apart. You know, and I know that this is true for you and Lex, that everything that matters to you is built upon your love. And that's, Brad and I always come back to our love and our deep appreciation for each other, even in the moments where it just feels so difficult. And I mean, how many times we've said maybe divorce is the best option. But then we remember what our vows actually meant to us, and that we always just get to reinvent. And you said this earlier, how when stuff gets difficult, most people they just bounce. And I think that there's this gaslighting of the real work is actually to be in open relationships. And it's interesting. I'm very curious about that. But I believe that some of the hardest, most difficult work is to be in a committed, monogamous relationship with somebody for life. Because of who you get to be and what you get to overcome in order for the marriage to still thrive and be sexy and all that. And so you also touched on how the idea or the concept of sexless marriages is such a it's a Google result that is so significant. What do you think is the reason for that? Why do marriages become sexless?
Oh man, there's so many. One is it's the miseducation that occurs way before. It's the Disney, it's the every movie ever about relationships. It's the
rom-coms. Yeah.
Rom-coms always end when they get together. We don't see them 7, 9, 10, 13 years in. They never show us that part. And so there's a miseducation that occurs where people think that their problems, especially women, are taught and sold this, that their problems will be solved once they finally get chosen by the man. And men are nurtured in such a way that we experience some of the deepest love you can possibly experience from our mothers.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go out into the world and get glimpses of that in a relationship, but we don't know how to take care of a woman because in many ways, the love from our mom was one-sided. We didn't have to do anything or be anything to experience that love. And so now you thrust this little boy into a world where he is growing up hearing, don't be a little pussy, don't be a little faggot, man up. Mm-hmm. He's hearing man up and be a big boy from his mom and dad and school and church and all the other little boys.
Yeah.
So this is beat out of him by the time he's 11.
Like no space for vulnerability.
He does not know even how to get to it. My friends got shot in the head and died at 15 and I did not know how to cry. I remember being at the funeral being like, I don't know where my heart is. I should be sad. I don't know how to cry. So the point is that we nurture little girls in this direction, and we nurture little boys in this direction. And then they spend a lifetime, another 10, 15 years, still nurtured in these directions and never having the education and the demonstration and the understanding of what it takes to actually be there for each other and with each other. I tell myself and my students, men and women are different species, and both species sometimes don't know that, right? Women are tigers. Let's call it men are lions. Tigers do dope shit. They can swim and climb shit.
I have literally actual tigers on my shirt right now.
Right? They're strong. Yeah. They're amazing. They hunt differently. Lions are amazing. And they sleep longer and don't hunt as much.
Sure.
They're just different species. And we're looking at the other species going, why don't you get it? Well, of course you don't get it.
Women expect men to be able to read minds at all times and pick up on the hints. And I'm not saying this because I really mean this, and you should know what I mean by not saying that thing. And men are simple creatures.
Correct.
Just be direct. Just be explicit about what you want me to know about you. So I definitely also encounter that a lot with my students too. It's so beautiful. I mean, just like I love watching you in your expression, in your art, in your leadership, in your entrepreneurship, and everything that you're up to is just, it's sensational. And you've always done things in your own way. And you cannot put Leos in a box. Okay. We are both Leos. We are the best people.
On the planet. I mean, what are we going to do?
The best. I mean, it's a thing. But I just love how unconventional you are and have always been and always will be. And you give such a permission slip to so many people. I mean, you're constantly giving me a permission slip, even down to my music. Before I released my first single, I was at your house and you're like, so what's up with the music? Because you knew that I'd created these songs.
Yep.
What's up with the music? I'm like, well, I don't really know how to, put a song out on Spotify. I don't know how to do that. And you're like, you're not getting any younger. I'm like, oh, you're right. Definitely right. So I literally left, called the producer right away. I was like, hi, we're going to release the song immediately. And I look at just all the reasons and the excuses, the fear of having my art be out there and people not understand it or make fun of it or say that it wasn't music or whatever. And like, that was way back when they were just channeled mantras and original music. So it's obviously evolved into so much more now.
Right.
But I just want to say thank you Thank you for being such an instigator in my life, for being such a force. I mean, you were like hardcore. You're coming to Burning Man for like 3 years until we finally came, and it was just so beautiful. I mean, we've had such beautiful explorations and journeys together in this lifetime, going to Tanzania and experiencing that together. And it's just been a really, really beautiful ride with you. And I can't believe that we're doing this live together. I mean, you're also like, hey, by the way, come move to Austin. And I'm like, okay. So, now we're here and we're just,
So true. Yes. It is really interesting when you like pull far enough back. The chaos theory states that if you pull far enough back, you'll see the fundamental order of everything. Right. And certain birds of a feather often flock together.
That's right.
And when they find each other, if they're attuned enough, everything will inform everything, right? There's a magic of these exchanges and relationships. And it's been really cool to see you all, especially starting in the LA MITT days, for us all to be in PhD and to be going, working these muscles. And for you and Brad in particular to be brave enough to move to San Diego and say, flag down, right? And to go through the process that you did and learn and grow and even the mold and all the stuff that occurred to then, be brave enough to pick up and move to Austin and put the flag down again and say, here's who we are now. And each step of the way, and it's really beautiful, especially from a couple's perspective, because we've been sort of paralleling like this, right? Alexi and I, you and Brad, all doing our thing, kids, relationship stuff, adventures, reinvention, new companies, all the things have sort of kept overlapping. And I'm proud of me, but I'm also proud of you. And that moment at my house a few years ago with the music thing, to watch you actually follow through with that. And we couldn't be here without that moment.
That's right.
And the moments before of even putting the music together.
That's right.
Right. And that's when I say life is a team sport. I think that's one of the biggest lessons that I've sort of landed in is I don't have to do it all by myself. Right. I don't have to do it all by myself. One of the sort of ideas that I play with is the fruit doesn't belong to the tree. The fruit belongs to the ecosystem. And the trees that grow the most fruit and grow high and provide shade and food and water and shelter are the ones that are planted in healthy soil. It's not the seed. The seed contains the blueprint for everything. It's the soil that they're planted in, and the soil is the community. The soil is the friend group. The soil is the place where you go to the watering hole and get fed and get challenged and get pushed and get held. I remember one of the dark times with Alexi and I were going through, and I got on a call with you and I just vented. I'm like, this is all the stuff. And just being heard and held and seen in these processes are a part of why we are still together, right? Yeah. Having the soil to go to. And so I think, everybody's catching all of this, but the through line and the thing under the thing, under the thing, under the thing is the community and the friendship.
It's so important.
And I think, if people don't have that, I suggest you do get it.
Immediately.
It's one of the most important pieces to the game. I think it was in the Gnostic Gospels of Thomas, they said, if you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you. I think that all of us have music on our hearts, medicine on our hearts that only we can administer and give to the world. And the how that gets out is by way of reflection and challenge and love inside of communities.
That's so true. And I mean, just look at our community. I mean, in our text there's like 15, 20 of us.
Yep.
And just people sharing like, look at this song that I'm just releasing and look at this big, huge portrait that I just made. And there's just so much art in our community.
Yes.
And we have such superstars in our friend group.
Facts.
And we all hold space for each other and we love each other unconditionally. And it's just, there's been a lot of heartache in our community, but also so much beauty. I mean, it's the full scope of being a human. And it's truthfully the best and most important currency is having that tribe. So I just want to say thank you for being my friend, for being the godfather to Jet. And I just am so excited to see what we co-create together as we continue on this beautiful journey of life. And I definitely want everybody who's listening to be able to stalk you, follow you, and continue to learn from you because you have so much to offer and so much to contribute to the world. So what's the best way that they can find you?
At Preston Smiles on anything, YouTube, Instagram. I don't do as much on Facebook, but those two places for sure. And if you want to do a epic workshop, go to thebridgemethod.org.
Yes. Make sure that you check all of this out because truthfully, if I'm going to put a stamp on anyone, it's my friend Preston Smiles. So just know that I'm so grateful that you got to be a part of this conversation. It's just been so special. Preston, again, thank you so much for being here. I love you so much from the depths of my soul. And I just, I'm going to give you a big squeeze after this. But guys, thank you so much for being a part of this. It's been awesome. I cannot wait to continue to explore these conversations with you. Thank you for joining. I am with Jenna Phillips Ballard, and I'll see you next time.